Hello, everyone. It is I, Mr. Staleman, and it's been a while. Apologies for not streaming. My cat chewed through my headset cables, and it took a while to order a replacement. But I'm here, and there is a lot to discuss about what's happened in this game known as Limbus Company. So let's get to it. Okay. So I'm already in the game. In order to give a small update on the account so far, I am missing the 4 egos here. They've released 2 since we've last talked, maybe 3. With Faust's telepole ego, Don's telepole ego, and I believe those are the only ones that have been recently released. If I had to give a priority for the egos shown here, I would probably say Telepole Dawn. If you have W.Corp Dawn to accompany her. Otherwise, Pursuance is probably going to be your best general use ego in this roster here. I've also cleaned out a majority of the identities here. As you can see from some of the updates that they've provided for how mirror dungeons work with the amount of ego shards that you're able to acquire, along with just lunacy and the drop rates that you're able to get, you can clear through getting a majority of the identities that you're really aiming for quite quickly. I'm trying to piece together where we last left off in terms of the content available, or at least like the less outstanding changes that have happened within the game. Well, they released 7 Sinner Otis, which is a high tier 3-star identity for Otis. If I can go here, you can see that a lot of my characters have a 3-star identity available. I'm using Kurokumo. I'm using Kurokumo over Ting Tang here for Hong Lu because it is stronger for the current build that I have with my team to be on Kurokumo over Ting Tang. But they're both equally viable. The recently released Liu Section 5 gives the Burn Squad or Burn Team much needed benefit, but I'm not sure that I can use it just yet. I think that once we have maybe a burn unit for Ishmael and we can use her Ardent Blossom on a regular basis, the Burn Squad can truly thrive. Speaking of Ishmael, I also have her Reindeer form, which is really nice. I think that the only identities that I'm missing are Mersault's second identity in what's it called? In W.Corp, and Heathcliff's identity, the Rabbit, which we're going to have a minor talk about when we discuss the railway, which I have completed. As you can see here, I have the Line 1 Madness banner. This is the premium banner. You can get one of 3. This is going to bother me if I didn't. You could get one of 3 of these banners as shown here. This is the basic one. If you just complete Line 1, or just complete Line 1. This one I think is complete Line 1 before the 2-week limit, and then this one is complete Line 1 sub 120 turns, which was the most difficult one, and I'll be providing a little bit of information on what you can do to make the job of getting sub 120 easier. And the hint is you're going to want someone with really good identities if you do not have them available in order to handle the railway. Because we just go here real quick. The railway, can I see the logs? Perfect. Okay, so the railway is split between 12, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 stages. And each turn that you take to defeat a round or to defeat a stage, it ticks up, and you can see that it ticked up to 117 by the end of things. And this was me employing some of the strategies that a number of people in the community were employing in order to get these stages reduced. There's a document going around that provides a lot more information that I will most likely link at the end of the stream inside of the post-stream video in the description. But a lot of the cut down on time that you're meant to do is just abuse of two particular identities, which are W.Corp Don and R.Corp Rabbit Heathcliff. So Heathcliff, if I can go to his page here. I do not have... Would I be able to see it? Okay, give me 1 second. Mess around with attempting to show it. I'm not going to enter this battle. I just want to show Heathcliff here. Okay, so the important thing for Heathcliff, Rabbit Core Heathcliff, is his tertiary ability, Quick Suppression. People specifically, what they do is that they cycle the first stage over and over again because you get an unlimited number of repeats for the first or for each stage. You can retry as many times as you want until you roll the perfect run, essentially, to get the optimal number of turns needed to defeat all of the enemies within a given stage. The downside is that if you want to potentially go lower, you are risking your lowest run that you've had, right? But with Heathcliff here, the important thing for most people to reroll is they want to acquire Quick Suppression, which gives the coin power +2 at 6+ speed, and they want to make sure that they have 6+ speed necessary to take advantage of all of this. You flip 5 coins here, and each coin is providing what, +4 per? The amount of damage that you start to increase on this specific ability alone is paramount to taking out stuff like the Crying Toad. I believe that's the name of it. The Crying Toad, taking down the telephone monster. It's like this. It provides the Sinner power-ups when you tell them that you've gone through the town or what have you in the mirror dungeon. There are a number of things that can be just broken into by use of Heathcliff's Quick Suppression, as well as Don's Rip Space. Just, I can't stress enough. I mean, with Rip Space here, the reason why you'd specifically want a Don with the ego available, the Telepole ego, is because you want to have 10 charge in order to gain this +4 power. And in order to gain this +4 power, you either have to cycle through using skill 2 twice or skill 1 4 times, because you're losing charge by 1 every time that you cycle through a turn in order to launch rib space. And that's not conducive to as strong of a run, unless you're also running with the telepole ego, which just provides charge. If you want to pump out rip space, you take telepole Dawn, because a lot of these sin costs synergize with the unit. It is just fantastic to use, right? So yeah, that's sort of the rundown for the railway. I could go more in depth into using different sin types. Probably my short hand tier list would be the sinners that I used for the actual railway run. I wasn't trying to go for the lowest possible score. I was just trying to get sub 120, and I succeeded in doing so with this team here. Faust is fantastic for this, as well as, surprisingly, Liu Section 6 Gregor. You can go with Liu Section 6 or General Core or G Core Gregor. G Core if you want to pump out Legerdemain over and over again as your ego, or Liu Section 6 if you need a dedicated blunt attacking unit, which Gregor is. I think that they're the premier blunt attacking unit so far in the game. We don't have many other good sources of blunt damage that can dish out a lot of damage. So Otis, recently released, is fantastic at clashing against enemies because of her passive ability, which reduces the power of all of the enemy's coins by 2 whenever they are clashing with her. It is phenomenal. Kurokumo Wakashu Honglu, Cloud Cutter continues to be a tour de force with the just sheer amount of damage that you can dish out. It is no surprise that Honglu would be on here on this list. Ting Tang I attempted to use in another run that wasn't shown here. I forfeited the run early on because I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. Ting Tang doesn't really work for the railway because Ting Tang wants to use Mutilate on enemies and take down a lot of enemies very quickly. And all of the enemies in Railway are super beefy. If you don't have a dedicated team of level 38 identities to face the Railway, it's going to be a slog to get through all of the enemies in that section. It was miserable even with all level 30 identities, most of them up tiered to tier 3. Arcor, Heathcliff, and Don Quixote. I would only need to pull these 2 for the particularly tanky enemies. These are my tank busters. If you're having a problem with fighting against the Snake Inquisitor, which is the current barrier to entry for, or not barrier to entry, the current gate to getting a sub 120 run, throw these 2 in. They will pick apart that entire fight. It is a force to behold. Blade Lineage Salsu Yisang. I employ Yisang for the tight margins that you have on each of your abilities. The red skill 2 is a particular favorite of mine because it is a good source of red, and I need that in order to power up all of my other units. Ryoshu, there aren't a lot of words to say about Kurokuma Wakashu Ryoshu. Just good overall. And then LCCB assistant manager Ishmael. I used this Ishmael instead of our core reindeer Ishmael because I just needed a dedicated blunt unit that could support Gregor for the K Corp stage in order to take out the enemies as quickly as possible, because the amount of health that they heal per turn is ridiculous. Mersault didn't get much use at all, which was a shame. I'm not sure where I would place them. I think that I would use them as a tank for one of the other railways if I were to attempt it again, but that is neither here nor there. Hopefully, you have a number of these identities. If you needed to sub something out or something else, I would. If you need a list of the must-haves in order to get a sub 121 or 120 run, it would probably be having Heathcliff or the Don Quixote, Heathcliff being higher priority. If you have ego, the teleport ego for Don Quixote, then Don is the priority pick. These two make busting through the tanks so much easier to handle that you can see with my first run here, without the rabbit, I was at 141 turns, decreasing it down to 117. That is something like a that is math. That is math that I can't do right now. It's in the 20s. I cannot do the math at the moment. It's probably like 23, 24. Yeah, it's 23 or 24. I couldn't do it with this squad. I needed a number of changes with this squad, and it shows with the turn that you acquire. Try to cut down on the amount of turns that it's going to take to defeat your enemies in the early stages, because those are where most of the margins you're going to find. You can see that in my old run, or this is the new one, in my old run, I had 9, 6, and 16 for my first 3 stages, cut down to 8, 6, and 7. This was cut down by a little less than half. From 16 to 7 is or no, that would be a little more than half. It was it was cut down by a lot, to say the least. This was the frog fight, which is just a tanky enemy. I didn't have the knowledge of how to face the enemy, and I needed a tank buster, which was what Heathcliff provided, both in his base ego and in his suppression skill. So, now that we've gotten sort of the bookkeeping out of the way, let's talk about some of the updates that have taken place for the game. So, for one, as you can see here, they've changed where the modules are located. They're located first so that it is easy for you to pull out these modules. The Luxcavation and Thread are all in one location now, and you can just skip battles. Now, there can be discussions of efficiency over what you want to do, whether or not you want to skip the battle or you want to go through the process of going through the battle. I personally have been skipping a number of the ego fights that take too long in my book, Doomsday being one of them. If I had to look at the list, Apple would be another one that takes long and is annoying to deal with. You want to get beat hurdily, also annoying to deal with. It's easier for me to just spend the lunacy necessary, or not lunacy, the modules necessary to go skip the battle, because I still gain experience from the process of beating that section, and as a result, I gain all of my energy, refill it up, and feed it back into the module system. Eventually, that's not going to take place, but until that time until I reach that time, it is a good source of storing up my module costs. So I'm going to skip these battles. You gain 50% additional rewards. There's some math involved to ask how much threading you get, how much additional threading you get for the amount of energy that you're spending. Technically, it is better for you to, if you were trying to min-max your way through the game, it is better for you to just spend your time doing all of the runs, but I don't have time for that. I do not want to do that. So, I'm just going to skip through these battles real quick. And I know that I am going to do this fight. I'm going to skip this fight because I'm going to acquire the defeat 10 enemies from the battle pass in the dungeon that we're going to run. So let's skip this here. And we should have everything that we'd want here. And now we do our handy dandy mirror. Okay, so we've got Sun Shower, Wound Clarid, and Coffee and Crane. Coffee and Cranes is a general ego gift. It provides us with ego resources for our ego, and it's not team dependent. If we use lust skills, which we have a number of with the team that I'm currently running, we can bump up our ego usage massively, which sounds a lot more appealing than Sun Shower, which I don't have a lot of sloth resonance skills to use, and really almost none of them hitting multiple targets. It would really be between Wound Clarid and Coffee and Cranes, and I use Wound Clarid a lot, so I would prefer to use something new to build our run. It's going to be, if I had to think of all of the lust skills available, probably be Faust, Otis, and it would be Hong Lu. Yeah. The one who grips. Hong Lu's Urokumo. Specifically, if you can see here, last coin on the last skill in the chain inflicts 3 bleed when you link 3 lust together, which we're going to be doing a lot because we have everyone with a lust skill. Our 7th section director here. All right, we're good. Other than that, I hope that everyone is having a nice night so far. It has been one heck of a day, and I'm looking forward to taking it easy, streaming for another 40 or so minutes, going through this dungeon with you guys here tonight. Loud over
좀 더 잘 뵐 수 있을 것 같은데 되는 건 즐겁네요.
I mean, some of the criticisms that I have for the Mirror Dungeon stand, there are changes that are going to be not changes. There are going to be more dungeons released in the later stages of the game's existence, including the special Hell's Chicken
제가 원하는 대로
dungeon
되어버려도
that's
되나요?
going to be released. We're going to be going through particular events within this Hell's Chicken, which is supposed to be sort of a halfway point between
제가 응원하는 게
chapters
도움이
3 and
되겠나요?
chapters 4
힘내긴
of the
해보자고.
game. It is quite exciting to think about.
재미는 없겠지만 그렇게 할게요. 예측대로. 좀 더 잘 될 수 있을 것 같은데요?
아까처럼만 해. 그럼 이번 전투도 쉽게 갈 수 있을 거야. 한 방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
정화. 파우스트가 나설 만한 곳이어야 할 겁니다.
내가 응원하는 게 도움이 되긴 하려나? 힘내긴 해보자고.
Blood Cutter. Yeah,
직접 나서지.
the Grippy.
예측대로.
한 방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
So, as you can see here, because we're pumping out so many lust attacks, we're just accumulating ego up the wazoo.
정화.
쓰러졌고. 쓰러졌군.
Gregor. I have chosen Gregor because I just like them more than my other offering.
파우스트가 나설 만한 곳이어야 할 겁니다.
최선을 다해보지. 방금 벌레 말은 듣지 않다는 사람 누구야?
재미는 없겠지만 그렇게 할게요. 모든 업은 다시 돌아와. 네 머리 위에 내려질 것이다.
최선을 다해보지. 방금 벌레 말은 듣지 않다는 사람 누구야?
정화. 흙에서
빈틈 투성이로군.
한 방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
Yeah, this is
직접 나서지. 쓰러졌군. 쓰러졌군.
on. Lust is a secondary skill. Probably. And you have all slack.
가보지.
I need the gloom.
최선을 다해보지. 아이, 방금 벌레 말은 듣지 않다는 사람 누구야?
배는 맛은 있는 편이 좋은데.
빈틈 투성이로군.
그래서
한 방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
직접 나서지. 예측대로 쓰러졌군.
그래서 흙으로 흙으로
Feeling invitation. Burn. Bloody gadget just provides. Contains the slime in a glass jar. These tiny creatures are on each other. Could they be the
이런
sticky?
일은 실패해 본 적이 없지. 단테, 이번에는 누굴 베어버리면 되는 거야?
최선을 다해보지. 아이, 방금 벌레 말은
Alright.
듣지 않다는 사람 누구야?
재미는 없겠지만 그렇게
네.
할게요.
깨어라. 그래서
예측대로군.
그렇게 무르진 않네.
한 방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
정화.
빈틈 투성이로군.
한 방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
Yeah, whistles work on 4 instead of 5 now.
재미는 없겠지만 그렇게 할게요.
쓰러졌군.
And because there's no other N-Corp unit other than herself, she just gets herself the fanatic buff, which increases the amount of piercing damage that she does.
단테, 이번에는 누굴 베어버리면 되는 거야?
최선을 다해보지.
Oh, there's only one way.
한다는 사람 누구야?
That is bad.
배는 맛은 있는 편이 좋은데.
좀 더 잘
아까처럼만 해.
같은데요?
그럼 이번 전투도 쉽게 갈 수 있을 거야.
깨어라. 벌게서.
되는 건 즐겁네요.
한 방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
재미는 없겠지만 그렇게 할게요. 되는 건 즐겁네요.
한 방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
정화. 활그로.
It's gonna be ebony stem.
단테, 이번에는 누굴 베어버리면 되는 거야?
내가 응원하는 게 도움이 되긴 하려나? 힘내긴 해보자고.
재미는 없겠지만 그렇게 할게요.
예측
There isn't really a whole lot to analyze at the moment. A lot of this is just by the numbers.
한 방 먹였네.
I've described already my thoughts on what the game can improve on for this section, where it's sort of just by the numbers.
그렇게 할게요.
But it's not something that's going to be happening at least until the end of April, maybe early May, with the inclusion of the
되는 건
second dungeon. I mean, that is if continue to consider that to be a worthwhile prospect.
단테, 이번에는 누굴 베어버리면 되는 거야?
최선을 다해보지. 방금 벌레 말은 듣지 않다는 사람 누구야?
직접 나서지. 예측대로.
벌게서.
좋아. 한 방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
배는 맛은 있는 편이 좋은데.
아까처럼만 해. 그럼 이번 전투도 쉽게 갈 수 있을 거야.
되는 건 즐겁네요.
I won. I'm so... I thought that I was going to have to face something similar to the Snake Inquisitor derail for a moment. This one's the only one triggered. These 3 egos are dead in my... Fourth match flame comes. Something like this.
제가 원하는 대로 베어버려도 되나요?
뚫어보자고.
재미는 없겠지만 그렇게 할게요.
최선을 다해보지. 방금 벌레
That was
말을 듣지
easy.
않는 사람 누구야?
Something like this.
재미는
this'll work.
없겠지만 그렇게 할게요. 좀 더 잘 되는 건 즐겁네요.
아까처럼만 해. 그럼 이번 전투도 쉽게 가. 한방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
직접 나서지. 꽤 잘 갈렸고.
I'm so very tired. But I will at least finish this dungeon before I go to bed. Does it remove the doll's talisman? I think it's the doll's talisman. Honglu. Rodion. Person that's going to be dealing most damage and boss, so.
예리한 검으로 하는 예술이 보고 싶었나?
Oh, goodness gracious. We're almost done with the mirror dungeon. And we're finally reaching difficulty that the game has on offer.
최선을 다해보지. 방금 벌레 말은 듣지 않는 사람 누구야?
거치적거리지만 마. 끝. 빈틈 투성이로군.
한방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
Oh, it's that I own. Or lust.
거치적거리지만 마. 예측대로. 쓰러졌고.
되는 건 즐겁네요.
한방 먹였네. 이 기세를 모아서 뚫어보자고.
직접 나서지.
모든 결과들은 파우스트가 알아요.
밀어붙이려면 지금이야. 승리가 눈앞에 있거든.
되는 건 즐겁네요.
훈장은 사양이다.
This is an automatic pick.
흉터는 경험이요.
단테, 이번에는 누굴 베어버리면 되는 거야?
Oh, goodness gracious.
내가 응원하는 게 도움이 되긴 하려나? 힘내긴 해보자고.
Let's see here. I mean, something like this. Can probably kill you now if you loud cutter here.
좀 더 잘 뵐 수 있을 것 같은데.
Loud cutter is just so disgusting of a move.
먹였네. 이
The
기술을
fact that it's just like a secondary skill is atrocious. Atrocious in the means that like it should be its tertiary skill, to be quite honest with you.
그렇게 무르진 않네.
끝이 꽤잘 갈렸군. 빈틈투성이로군.
모든 결과들은 파우스트가
Go.
한 방 먹였네. 이 기술을 모아서 뚫어보자고.
That'll work.
거치적거리지만 마. 쓰러졌군. 쓰러졌군.
Phantom Pain work here. Let's just heal up so that we can skip through a fight, get to the very end.
제가 원하는 대로 베어버려도 되나요?
We're more than certainly going to defeat the final boss here. I'm just hoping that we don't get something like... Okay, so we didn't.
해보자.
I was hoping that we did not get the
누구야?
Baba Yaga fight. Field command. Gonna be... You can handle this. Guess you're handling.
정화.
끝이.
Bird is down.
좋아. 보입하게 성공했어. 계속 몰아붙이자고.
Alright, it is already halfway dead.
뚫어보자고.
That isn't even fair. You might as well just go for the full coup d'etat, right?
재미는 없겠지만 그렇게 할게요.
예측대로군.
I think that we just get a 2-turn kill. Yeah.
아까처럼만 해. 그럼 이번 전투도 쉽게
Well,
수 있을 거야.
that was a riveting victory, to say the least. I think that
가장 순수한 세상으로.
I might alternate my streaming so that I pull in other games. As I love Limbus Company, but unless I'm streaming something new for it, I don't know if everyone is going to just enjoy sitting here watching me play Mirror Dungeons. Maybe I just need to talk about other stuff. Sort of difficult to talk about other things in silence. I don't know. Maybe it is a thought that I will consider come next time. Maybe I'll just pull a couple of, and maybe with a new banner, I'll just start each section with or each video by pulling in the banner and maybe talking about what I pull. Actually, let me just for the fun of it, it's just the one. I'm not using my whole banner for this. Nope, I didn't get anything. Darn. Well, with that, it has been a pleasure. I am going to bed now because I am very tired. Skeleton. So, thank you for watching, those of you that tuned in. I appreciate everyone that tunes in from VOD angle. It means a lot to me. And I hope that you have a nice rest of your night. See you later.